Welcome back everyone to our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. Now in our last video we had a great finish and took the victory with Rodriguez, giving us now, Rodriguez is now first in the driver standings and Sergio is 12th. Team standings, we now lead by 2 points over Boa. So let's take a quick look at some email that we've got. Let's see, some news stories. We got our usual car condition update and an interview, which I've come to like these less and less every time I've seen one. It was a great win. All right, let's go ahead as a real team effort. Okay, finished 7th, which is well below expectations. I love how they say that, well below expectations. All right, so again, not much of anything accomplished there. All right, so the race win, there's his first plus 15 for morale, and our new gearbox is finished. So we can get this one up to now 644. Let's take a moment to take a look at our progression for gearboxes. Of course, it's not there yet, but 558 and 489. So now we will be able to move up to, we'll get started on this one. As soon as we can get back into improving parts, we can get it up much higher. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and design a new part. So we come in, we see that 645 is the bar that is set right now, and I'm going to do yet another one. But we need to see, we got a spot for three slots here. And let's see. I like this, plus 60. If I'm going to do that, then I need to do that. Okay, so that gives us, I can either go plus 20, I can go plus 25, I can go plus 40. Let's do plus 40, and that gets us up to 680. Okay, so another nice size jump. And again, the more we keep working on these, the better off we will be, and the more of these we can use. Now, let's take a look at what we can get on Epic. Let's see, we've got risk level. Okay, nothing there that I want to see. And let's see, same thing here. Reliability, and now this is pretty awesome to bring that red zone down 20% and increase reliability. But again, I don't want to, I can work on reliability after I build the parts. And then we got plus 40 and plus 25, so that one's very nice, as well as an option here to take 4 days off the build. Okay, so I like this. Again, this is longer term. This is looking toward this second half of the season, really, that we're trying to build toward. Now, I know it seems like I'm spending a lot of time on the gearbox right now, and I am, and it's because, again, so many of the races have the gearbox or acceleration listed as either crucial or very important. I forget exactly how it words it there. So I want to make sure at all times I have either the first, second, maybe even third on the grid, preferably first, if at all possible, and that gives us the best opportunity to succeed. All right, so this will get us up to 680. Let's go ahead and build this. All right, but right now on acceleration, we are currently first, and I want to solidify that, of course, which this next build should do. Let's go ahead and move things forward and get our car repair finished. And sure enough, it is. So we finished with both of the cars. It looks like we got some sponsorship opportunities coming in. And okay, so let's clear these out for now and take a look at our next race. All right, so we're going to Phoenix, but we're running the road course, not the oval. And we need top speed. Okay, that's a spec part. Low speed corner. Okay, that's our front wing, and then we got a rear wing. So 2 spec parts and then our wing. So I know I want to use this one. And okay, we're basically done with those 2 parts. Let's go ahead and add this part into both places. So I'm going to leave it as the only for right now until I get it up to somewhere around 80. Then I'm going to add in some others probably so that we can get those down. Thankfully, we haven't had to worry about the suspension too much yet because it hasn't been a crucial part, but it's coming, I believe, in the next race after Phoenix when it becomes a crucial part. Okay, So I believe this is where we want to be, except that we want to send all this toward reliability. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look at our sponsors. Okay, only 2 offers there so far, so we'll continue on for a few days here. Okay, now we got our 3 offers, and let's take a quick look at what they're offering. Okay, really, when I take a look at it, I mean, the 150,000 per race with a little bit up front doesn't really stack up at all. It is a shorter term, so that isn't so bad. But then I look at 300,000 versus 400,000. The races are similar, but then we get some up front here. Okay, I like this deal overall. I'll take the 400,000 per race. Let's go ahead and add that. And take a look at our finances. Okay, this brings us down to only losing 580,000 per race before any bonuses that we might be able to accrue. All right, so now we're up to 71, still 17 days remaining. So let's go ahead and go a few more days with this one. Again, we don't want to have any issues whatsoever. Okay, now that should be enough. Okay, 84%. All right, that takes care of what we need there. Let's go ahead and drop both of these in. Let's see, what were their parts? So we got top speed, low speed corners, and high speed corners. So we're at 80%. I tell you what, let's go ahead and put those 2. I'm not sure if it matters where they are in the queue or if just that they're in the queue. Rear wing really hasn't been an issue, so I'm going to add all 4 of these in there, and then just whatever we can get for the remainder of the time will be wonderful. In the meantime, we'll continue to work here, although it's not a priority. Okay, let's go ahead, and we've got some scouting that has come up. Let's go ahead and let's see, we've got our, okay, not terrible there. Okay, and just what I've been doing basically is going down through here and scouting these guys, these younger drivers, and we'll put this in the Asia Pacific and then run it down into the European Racing Series just to get an idea. It gives me how good they are, and then I can also see if they're a paid driver and so on. So get started along those lines. Let's go ahead and continue moving forward. Okay, so let's see. He wants to do an interview about, oh, look, it's the same racetrack we just removed, voted to remove last season. Let's see, I'd love to see it on the calendar. And do you think it'll be good? Absolutely do. Of course, I'm not planning on being here next season in this division, but if we are, hey, the more races we can get, the more I enjoy it. So, all right, let's see where how we're coming along here. All right, so we're at 90% on all of these. We got 6 races remaining. Let's go ahead and use that opportunity to see what we can get for these parts. So, our engine, which was barely hanging on by a very, very thin thread in the last race, is now up over 90%. That's good. Our brakes, I tell you what, let's go ahead and add those in there for now, and just to see, even thankfully they're not a critical part, but we're going to try to get those as good as we can anyway before the next event. Let's go ahead and fast forward through these. And we are coming up on a vote to add the new track. Let's go ahead and head into that. And I'm going to vote for, but I'm not going to vote in there extremely strongly. Let's go ahead and skip to the end and see what happens. Okay, it's rejected. So looks like everybody is a little bit more cost conscious and doesn't want to increase the calendar. Okay, so now we have reached race day. Let's come in and see what our parts are doing. Okay, so we're still number 1 here, and we're well behind in some of these categories for sure. Okay, let's take a look. So we got up to 59 and 60. Okay, not bad. Again, not where we want to be, but the crucial parts for this particular race, I believe, are taken care of. And with that in mind, let's go ahead and back our way out, continue, and once again, we are going to use fourth or above simply because of the closeness. And for the first time, we can stand to actually make a little bit of a profit if we can meet our goals. So let's make sure that our parts are aligned as we need them to be. Okay, so brakes, no change there. And front wing, again, same thing basically here. All right, let's take a look at our new part. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that and then move up to, so we'll take a big jump of about almost 40 for Sergio there, while not as big of a jump for Rafael. But again, the idea is that we continue to improve both of our cars. Okay, reliability should be perfectly fine for both of these, as they are not the crucial parts here. So we got, but the front wing, 90% on the engine, and then 80% on the rear wing. I think we're in good shape here. Okay, let's head back out. And with that in mind, let's head to the racetrack. Practice and qualifying have just completed, and practice session went pretty well. Qualifying was a tale of two different drivers, really. Sergio got a great clean lap, so he'll be starting toward the front. Rodriguez, unfortunately, had an incident where he came upon two cars who seemed to be playing patty cake on their cooldown lap and were running side by side, and he couldn't get by. So unfortunately, things didn't work out all that great for him. Let's take a quick look at the setup. So we're starting third with Sergio, all purple for him, 99%. We'll be starting on the soft tires, and we're going to go ahead and change this to 10. That should give us about 7 laps going full out. Now, we're not going to be able to go quite full out, I don't think, the entire time because of their engine, but we're going to try to get as close to that as we can. Setup not quite as good at 93% for Rodriguez, and you can see he's starting at the back. So soft tires, and we're going to go ahead and give him a little bit more fuel. Although, again, this is normally just so we don't stack up the cars, but I'm going to try to run 8 laps the first stint for him, and then we'll do 7 laps the second time around. And we're going to start them both out pushing and in overtake mode, the most aggressive for the engine. So we've got to make up a lot of spots for Sergio, maintain spots for Sergio and make up a lot of spots with Rodriguez. Okay, let's go ahead and get everything set up with our camera. And, okay, here we go. So Sergio, we need him to maintain here at the beginning. He's probably racing around some drivers that are better than him at this point. So, all right, so he so far has been able to maintain third. All right, if he can do that for a couple of laps here, that should let everything string out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and back down a little bit on him just because, again, these engines, you can't quite run them full out the entire race. You can try, of course, but I'm going to try to back down just a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and come back just a touch there. So Rodriguez not having any luck whatsoever moving forward. So I'm going to back down again a little bit on him. In the meantime, Sergio is just fine backing down some on the engine because he is comfortably in third. Unfortunately, the first 2 cars have gotten out to a huge lead. All right, Rodriguez unable to make up any distance whatsoever. The key for us is to have at least one driver in the points every race, and particularly we would like to have, best case scenario, at least one driver on the podium every race, because the team championship is what it's about for us. All right, so now here we are on lap 4. We've got a virtual safety car, and we're back at it. So we've lost our lead over the 4th place car, but we've also narrowed the gap over the top 2 cars as well. And we're getting close to pit stops. We'll keep an eye on if anybody's running a 2-stop strategy. They should be coming in the next. Let's go ahead and push this back up a little bit, and we'll conserve. There we go. All right, so now Rodriguez is up to 10th. As you can see, the pit stop starting. Okay, so we're going to push as hard as we can, because now it's been revealed who is on a 2-stop and who is on a 1-stop strategy. We'll see there's some other cars that could be coming by this time, and there you go. Now we're up to 2nd as even more cars are coming by. This you would figure, it could be a 1-stop, but you would figure these are 2-stoppers. If they're 1-stop, then that means they're going on to the soft tire. Okay, so far so good on everything I can see. We've got tire wear that is going to be a problem here before too long. And let's see, plenty of fuel left. And the question is going to be, do we have plenty of tire left? Let's go ahead and conserve a little bit of tire. Okay, so now we'll set up our first pit stop for when we complete lap 7 for Sergio. Put on the fresh set of tires, and we'll go back up to, this time we're going to go a little bit more fuel. We're going to go up there because we're going to need 8 laps, and we're going to try to run these all as hard as we can. Let's see, we've got to fix one part. No way around it, unfortunately. So that's going to drop us back into pack some. Okay, but he's got some clean track here. Have him go ahead and push as hard as he can. Oops, not you, wrong guy. You come back. Sergio, you push. All right, so we're running really low on tire here. All right, I'm going to have him come into pit. There's just no way around it, unfortunately. This is probably going to stack them up. But again, as far as I can tell, let's go ahead and give them enough fuel to try to push as hard as we can. Okay, I'm not going to repair that for him. Who knows if that's going to be a good idea or not, but all right, so Sergio is now in the pits. You can see his pit stop here. And does he get out in time? Yes, he does. Okay, so now let's bring this back. Let's take a look at the conditions. Okay, I think we should be good for him to push to the end of the race. Not necessarily the tires, but... Okay, so we're neutral, overtake there. Let's see where we are with everything. Okay. I think we're as good as we could possibly be here. Again, Rodriguez is well back. Let's switch over to Sergio, who is now running in 4th. And it's got some work to do if he is going to try to get to those top 3 and get on the podium. All right, so Rodriguez will pass some cars here as they come in for their final pit stops. Let's go ahead and have him push. Might as well. He's got nothing to lose at this point. But plenty of time left in this race. Plenty of laps left. I'm having him push right now to try to catch that group in front of him. All right, Sergio back up to 2nd now. And we continue to push. You can see our condition is not wonderful. All right, let's take a look at our condition here. Okay, yeah, he's got some parts that are going to be kind of ragged. Let's back off and actually conserve a little bit and see if we can't save just a little bit for him. All right, but so far Sergio is doing great in 2nd position. Looks like he's going to have plenty of fuel, if I did my calculations correctly, to continue to push through the end of the race. Looks like we shouldn't have any condition problems with the engine because we laid off a little bit earlier in the race. Okay, it looks like not much chance of catching the first place car. We're 8.5 seconds out there. We'll keep an eye on that and see if we're making any time since we got about 4 laps remaining. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's holding steady at about 8.4 seconds. In the meantime, Rodriguez is doing a great job as much as he can, way back in the pack. All right, yeah, the lead, in fact, it's being stretched out a little bit now. Honest. Okay, so if we can hang with second position, that will be great. Okay, we're going to have to ignore that because unfortunately, coming in for the pits is going to take away any chance we have of a points paying position, which is the top 6. Okay, 2 laps remaining. And the reason I'm holding out for Rodriguez is if you're looking up here at the top right, you can see he's not that far out of 7th. So if we have a few people that drop back because of parts issues, then we've got a shot at this. Okay, he's talking about the suspension, which is definitely getting down there. Okay, final lap. Here we go. We're in 2nd and 9th. All right, so let's go for broke. Go ahead and push. I tell you what, why not? Let's go ahead and attack. Okay, so we're in 2nd, and we're at about 7 seconds out. All right, now we're up to 8th with Rodriguez, firmly in 2nd. Now Rodriguez has 6th place in his sight. Let's go ahead and swap over to that. So we come home 2nd. Rodriguez trying to get into 6th. Can he get it? He makes the pass for 6th and brings it home. All right. Now that's something I wasn't quite sure he was going to be able to do with his condition issues, but we were able to come in with both cars in the points with a 2nd position and a 6th position. So quite an impressive finish. Now it looks like we've got one car limping along. It says it's waiting for one car to finish, and it looks like that's the car there. In the meantime, our cars have decided to race all the way into pit road. So we got this one final car to finish. We'll be back as soon as that's done. All right, so the final car made it around, and let's go ahead and move through some of these screens. Scrutineering will not be an issue for us. So we come home 2nd and 6th, so we will get the bonus, the monetary bonus. And so we get 6 points here, 14 points for the winner. That's why wins are so valuable in the points standings. So now we drop to 2nd position with Rodriguez in the driver's standings and up to 5th for Sergio. And that's what I was talking about before when he was down here below the top 10. Nobody had any points down here. Very much so. And I told you, if he could get to a podium, those points would jump him well up in the standings. And thankfully, it has done just that. All right. And so now we have a 5-point gap over now Thornton, who has burst onto the scene and passed Boa for 2nd position. So we'll try to continue to build on that as time goes on. Go ahead and move forward to our final couple of screens, which will include our morale and finally the money. Okay, let's see what we got. Rodriguez looks like dropped down a little bit. Well, it shows no change there. So he's at 80%. And then we've got 100% for Sergio. We continue to increase the relationship with the mechanics. And we lost a little bit of happiness with our chairman. I'm actually not sure what that comes from because nobody else lost anything. We came in 2nd and we were expected 4th. So we're at 90%, which seems to be roughly the maximum we have. No changes to marketability, which is very high. And now for the first time in quite a while, we can say that we actually made money at a race. Thank you very much for joining me on this episode of our Let's Play series, and stay tuned for more Motorsport Manager.